Hi, Emma-Louise. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Samina. Nice to be here with you.
Great. So, Emma, you make fermented food, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about what fermented foods are, why they're good for you, and how often you should be eating them, and that sort of thing. So, if you could tell me a bit about that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Fermented foods are really popular these days. I mean, they've been around for years and years, but recently people have been realising that they are an absolute powerhouse nutritionally. I like to think of them almost as a health hack because literally, like a tiny portion, just a couple of forkfuls, say one of my fermented veggies, like kimchi, for example, particularly something that's made with a starter culture, would contain roughly all your vitamin C for the day, loads of B vitamins, and then probiotics and prebiotics are just off the scale. So you're talking sometimes just a portion of fermented vegetables, depending on how they're made. I use a starter culture, which means they're really, really high in probiotics. But if they're made in that way, just a tiny portion can actually be the same amount as a whole jar of probiotic capsules, just a
Wow.
couple of forkfuls. And we're not talking like a side dish, we're talking like a condiment sized portion, so a couple of forkfuls.
Wow.
So it's amazing, really. Sometimes when I do a demonstration, I hold up a jar of probiotic capsules and then like a tiny tiny little bowl and say, it's equivalent. You're getting like just an amazing amount of nutrition in a really tiny portion. So and they're delicious as well. Like if they're made properly with a nice recipe, can be really delicious and just something that you choose to eat anyway. So for me, like health wise, it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
Wow. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your journey into getting into business, actually making and selling fermented foods.
Yeah, well, it's a really weird journey actually because I'm actually a lawyer, so
Okay,
not
wow.
someone you'd necessarily expect to be like pickling and sort of making like Korean food like kimchi. I'm not Korean or Eastern European, so really I've got very little like connection to fermented food, and particularly like fermented veggies, which tend to be either from an Asian origin or Eastern European. But what drew me to fermented food was basically after I had my two children, I breastfed them both for a year each, and I was already quite run down. I think by the time I was pregnant, because I hadn't eaten well, through my 20s. So by the time I had my children and gave them all my nutrients through the pregnancy and the breast milk, I was just quite, sort of run down. I was a bit of a wreck, actually. I just had, fortunately, nothing, no sort of serious illnesses, but loads of sort of chronic, sort of niggly things. I was back and forth to the doctors. At one point, I was on 4 courses of antibiotics in a row.
Wow.
So clearly, to start with, my immune system was, must have been compromised. And then you can imagine what damage all those antibiotics, because we know now that antibiotics kill your good bacteria, which is what keeps you well. So after all the antibiotics, which work in the short term to get rid of, the infection or whatever, the current issue is, I was really run down, and I was just quite desperate actually to, because I was going to the doctors and what they were giving me, they were doing their best, but what they were giving me was obviously sort of making me worse in the long run, and I could see that. So I turned to Google, as you do, and I looked at all the blogs, the natural healing journeys, and as a lawyer as well, I'm very much into evidence. Everything has to be proven. So I was looking at like lab results, and I wanted to see lots of case studies and what were the results of this? Okay, you drank these green smoothies, you ate this, and did your condition actually improve? So I was really quite I investigated it basically, and when I found fermented foods, something just clicked, and I knew. I looked at all the research, but there was just something in me that knew, oh, this is for me. This is important. So I'm a lazy person. So I didn't start trying to make like fermented cabbage. I ordered it online. It was really hard to find. Like even now it's tricky to find anything like that in the mainstream supermarkets. But I found like a couple of people who were doing stuff on the internet, ordered it, and to be honest, it was a real slog to eat it because it just didn't. The stuff I ordered just didn't taste good at all. And I thought, do you know what? I know this is really good for me. I was kind of suffering through it, and I thought, like, surely it can taste better than this. So that forced me to start making it. I made kimchi. First I made a plain sauerkraut, then I made kimchi, and I loved it. Like I made it to suit my taste, and I made it like in the best way possible. I used organic ingredients. I used starter cultures, which none of the stuff that was available, nothing was made with starter cultures, probably because it's expensive. So even people doing the proper raw fermented stuff don't tend to use the starter cultures, because it is costly. But, I was making it for myself. I wanted to make something that was, like as good as it could be. So I made it. It was delicious. Everyone who tried it loved it. So I thought this should be available, stuff that's made in like the best way possible, in the most healing way possible, and that actually tastes really good. So I literally just had the idea to set up a stall at a farmer's market, at a local farmer's market, and it was really popular, and it's just grown from there.
Oh wow. Sounds good. Yeah, I get what you say about being lazy and just wanting to be able to just go out and buy something delicious rather than have to go to the effort to make it yourself. So it sounds like you've actually met quite a gap in the market then, really, haven't you?
Yeah, it's funny when I do markets and I sell in a couple of independent health food shops, when people taste my stuff, they sort of, it's funny, they have like this expression of, oh God, this is going to be disgusting. and then when they actually taste it, they're like, oh my God, this is really nice. Like I would just eat, it doesn't even need to be healthy. I would eat it because it's just really delicious. And that's my aim, to make something that's healing and, that's just delicious, that's nice food. I don't see why it should have to be a chore.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So you're actually going to be, as well as coming to Awaken the Goddess and selling your products, you're going to be giving a demo on making fermented veg, or some a kimchi, or what is it going to be?
Yeah, I'm planning to do a kimchi demonstration. Okay. I think kimchi is the kraut that everyone knows at the moment. Everyone recognises it. It's quite popular. And, people want to know how to make it, what's that funny name spice that you use, where do I get it? How should I chop the cabbage? What's the starter culture? All of those questions. It's actually really, really simple, to make fermented foods. It's just a case of having all the stuff together and just having the confidence, I think, to just to get started, really. So I think seeing it made is is really cool. It inspires people to just go home and sort of try it for themselves. So I'll make some kimchi, and I'll have loads of samples available on the day as well for people to taste. And you can obviously buy mine on the day.
Oh, brilliant. I'm really, really happy that you're going to be there. And I'm really looking forward to receiving my delivery of goodies as well, which should be coming soon.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a bit of a waiting list at the moment, so sorry about the delay.
No, that's all right. Oh, Emma-Louise, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to having you there on the day.
Me too, can't wait. Thanks, Amina.